My name is Mary Jane Diaz. I live at 711 South Pecos, number 3. In this area, this is where I was raised. They were all torn down. They were all torn down, with the exception of that house right there, which belonged to the postmaster's family. It was considered historical. And then there's about 2 or 3 on El Paso Street that are still there. The Gonzalez family, they lived there. They kept their house. Yeah. But it was in a lot better condition. It was wonderful. The neighbors were friendly. We could, 24 hours a day, we could knock on somebody's front door and they would come and see what we needed. So, when new neighbors moved in, we would go and introduce ourselves, or my grandmother especially would take me because I was young and would tell them, if you need something from the grocery store, just call on her and she'll go do the errands for you. It was, the kids played outside with hide and seek and marbles and cowboys and Indians. Everything was within walking distance. We had 3 bakeries close by. One of them was La Especial, and it's just about half a block from here. And then 2 tortilla companies, and where you could get your masa to make gorditas or your own corn tortillas. And during the holidays, the people bought their masa for the tamales. We never went to the doctor. My grandmother took care of us, and with hierbitas. We had curanderas in the neighborhood that would come. We also had pharmacist, Fernando Guerra, that was at the corner of Pecos and Guadalupe. And we kind of considered him like our doctor, even though he was just a pharmacist. But we would tell him what was going on, and he would give us or sell us over-the-counter medicine. And he was wonderful. He was wonderful. Well, they came telling us that there was Vista Verde was coming in, or Urban Renewal, and they were going to, the houses were substandard, and that especially the renters, and we were a renter, would have to move. And my grandmother, bless her heart, she said, I'm not leaving here. The police will have to come and drag me out. But I knew that the law was the law, and so by then I was working at City Public Service, and when I got out of work, my mother and I would go to the different areas of town close by and look for houses that were for sale. I didn't actually find a house on my own. My mother was very sick in the hospital, and my coworker said they're selling a house on Craig Street, and they're trying to settle an estate. Why don't you go look at it? So when my mother got out, I said, let me take you to go see this house. She loved it. She loved it. So I came and we told my grandmother, and she said, well, y'all can leave. I'm not leaving. You and your mother can leave. I will stay here. Well, I thought, no, there's no way. She was already in her 90s. And so I told my mother, she doesn't leave. I'm not leaving either. So we stayed there, and I think in my heart, I feel that she stopped eating and dehydrated, and then she died so that we could move on. And it was close to the end of the year, so I told my mother, let's just stay till the end of the year, see the year out, because the neighbors would have tamales and buñuelos and see the fireworks. And so at the end of the year, we moved to our house at 338 East Craig. So she died, and that was very traumatic because since we didn't go to the doctor. My friend said, you better take her, or the authorities are going to charge you with, not taking her, and you'll be in trouble. So a friend of mine that worked for an ambulance company said, I'll go get her. And I can still picture it because she was screaming and yelling and telling them as they were taking her down the alley, help me, don't let them take me away. Screaming, and I followed in my car behind them. Then she lasted probably about a week, and then she passed away.
Yeah.
And she was 93 years old.
So she was really tough. She was really
Oh yeah, she was tough.
Yeah.
They called her Doña Rosa because Doña, she was a boss, and she was not afraid of anybody.
Yeah.
In my little alley, we were all renters, and just the front house, the landlord's mother lived there, and then there was another beautiful home, but she was by herself. They did get, she owned the house and they did get paid, but she moved to New York where she had a niece that could take care of her. She had a beautiful magnolia tree in her front yard.
Yeah.
And I just looked and I don't see it there anymore.
Yeah.
Some of the people that stayed till the bitter end, they were, well, the landlords. There were people in the neighborhood that owned their own houses, and they were paid. The renters were at the tail end, and they got an opportunity to buy a house in Vista Verde.
But in the beginning, the renters, they didn't have any help at all.
No. We were really at the mercy of the landlords because they did not want to do anything. Yeah. Like I said, it was 2 rooms, the bedroom and the kitchen. And my grandmother asked our landlord, can we enclose the porch and at our expense? And he said yes, and that became my little bedroom, which was just enough for a twin bed, but I had my own room. So, I guess losing the beautiful friendships that we had, and some of them would still come and visit us, like the ones that moved on. And we hadn't moved yet, but a lot of activity that you don't see anymore. Maybe
it was more like the relationships that were
yes,
there, right? That got, it wasn't just the houses; it was the fabric or the network.
The interaction that we had with the business people that owned businesses and with our neighbors. They were our family. My mother was an only child, I was an only child, so our neighbors were our extended family, and they continued to be even after we moved.